Hey, it's Amy Hauser, and I'm back with MirrorWord Chat Time. And you guys, I have a really special guest on here today. You guys, I get to introduce my friend, Lydia DuToit. And y'all probably know that last name if you know the MirrorWord Study Bible. Lydia is an incredible human being that I've had the honor of meeting in person, and she is married to Francois, the author of the written word that is impacting our lives and so many people's lives in a huge way. We get to spend some time. Lydia, I'm so glad you're here today.
I'm so excited too. I'm excited. You cannot believe. My toes are curled up and I'm sort of sitting at the edge of my seat. Happy, happy, happy.
Yes. We
Massively happy.
we get to stay in contact through WhatsApp. I had the opportunity of meeting Lydia and Francois in person. I think it was back in 2022, maybe when were you back here in the States and you came through Texas?
Oh, Amy, I am useless with dates. Francois
Okay.
does that one. I remember faces and hugs. I remember hugs and
Yes. You're just like me. I'm the same way. See, like I'm like, was it 2022? It doesn't even matter because we're operating in a whole nother system of time anyway. So we don't have to worry about that.
do
But
you
I'm
remember
gonna
it
guess
was
what's
do
that?
you, it was like a random meeting. We were just getting together. There wasn't really a proper place, so we were just in a park around a table and we shared together. It was just, I love those spontaneous happenings and looking at this amazing lady. And I thought, oh my word, I want to get to know you better. It's
So
wonderful.
precious. And you know what? I was fairly new to the mirror at that time. Well, I would say I think I was introduced in 2019 and by a friend here who, Luke Reedus, who has the nonprofit Compassion United. And he had mentioned it at one time, we got talking
Mhm.
about it. He said, you have to check this out. It's so different. And when I got myself a copy, I got the red version from a while ago, like a smaller, section. It was just a segment. I found it online somewhere. And y'all, when I read the Understanding the Bible segment of,
Mm. So,
I mean, tears,
mm,
my heart, it was as if there was this magnet that just pulled that says, this is what
mm,
your life has been craving. This is the
mm.
truth that you've always known, but you didn't know that you knew. It was that inner knowing, that actually a word that God gave me back in 2017 that said, trust the knowing, that gnosko, that knowing, that intimacy, right? And that was that first of, I know that this is the truth, but there's nothing that man has told me that says this is the truth. And
Oh.
hell, I started reading the eloquence, the language, the love language that was written that pulled me in, and I was sold. And so to have the opportunity to
Yeah.
meet with you face to face, you guys were in New Braunfels, Texas. And so a friend of mine who's actually been coming on the Mirror Word as well, Shauna, has been, she drove with me. She was living with us at the time.
Hours.
3 hours. Yeah, we drove 3 hours. We had an amazing day, hung out with you. It was worth every minute in the car, right? That's not very far. When it's 10 Texas standards, 3 hours is nothing. You go that far for lunch. Literally, I've gone that far for lunch. But and since then, just being able to connect, which was a divine thing for me in some kind of crazy few years. And so you've been an anchor and a blessing and just a touch point. We get to connect from time to time. So thank you for that. Thank you, thank
Thank
you, thank
you. Thank you, my darling. While you were talking, I'm just reminded weekly, I'm sure, easy. Weekly, we get messages and emails from folk that say that I always thought this was true. And when they hear this beautiful message, it's like everything inside of you resonates with a feeling of at homeness, a feeling of it resonates beyond your reasoning. And that is maybe one of those difficult things that we need to learn in life, that and teach our kids. So much of education was downloading information, and actually it was just taking away rubble and leaves and wara wara and allowing connection. We are so compatible. I remember years ago, I mean, I don't know if you know, we were doing, I don't want to call it missionary work, but we were for many years in the very rural areas. And Francois had a off-road thumper motorbike. And we would go to the schools. He's got a guitar on his back and off to the schools. And
I can see it.
yeah.
I can see it.
Oh my word, it was just with, I know something and I want to share it. I want to get it out there and I want to. So we never went to places that you would expect to have go through channels, go through, I've got to go through this avenue or that avenue. It's just something that burns in your heart. I've actually veered off for what I wanted to say, but I like it anyway. It
Yeah,
is
I
so,
like it too. I like
yeah,
it.
it's so beautiful. And, you know, if we could uh, understand, I was thinking just now about how many times too have we not, even this week I got an email from somebody saying, how do I share this with people that I love so much? How do, oh, this thing's got a screen. How do I want to get to them. I want them to see what I see. You know that. That is all of our hearts. It
Yeah,
is
for
like,
sure.
I've got a treasure. I've got this. It's like those lepers and the enemy's left and the city is sieged and they sort of like gobbling away, gobbling away, gobbling away. And there's gold and there's silver and there's treasure. And they're thinking, "Oh, it's too much for us. Let's go and tell them enemy has fled,
Right.
flown or whatever." There is a story like that in the Old Testament, remember? And they could all come in and feast from the same abundance that they just came across, came across. That's what I wanted to say just now. Those years already, we started in that process. We started training young people to just go out with us. We started in our home. It was first a little holiday venture. We took kids out on a holiday thing. We went camping. And during the day, Francois would just teach them. And in the evenings, we would just go out and find somebody to share with. And
Mm.
then they came home, and there were 18 people in my house. At that time, Ronaldo and Tila were born. So it was Francois and myself in one room, and there was one bedroom, and there's 18 people in the same house queuing for the bathroom. And we lived in an old property. It used to be a drive-in theater. Do you remember the old drive-in theaters?
Yeah.
Humpty Bumpties, sit and have your
Okay.
milkshake. But it had closed down, so we bought the property. And in the projector room, isn't that so prophetic? The projector room. For months and years, until we moved to another premise, Francois would teach there daily. Those young people, and more people came, and more people came. Eventually, we didn't have enough room, and somebody just gave us a hotel. They said, "You've got a problem, and we've got a solution," and they gave us a hotel. And
Of
during
course
that
they did.
time,
Of course somebody just gave it to you, right? Makes
exactly. In that, we never asked anybody any money. There wasn't a program or nothing. It's organic. It just happened. It happened with, uh, and that to me is the, how did the mirror start? It started with an organic desire. Just this, oh God.
That's
Mm.
exact. I mean, that was going to be my question is like, how? did this start? But it's not, what I'm hearing you say, Lydia, is it's not your efforting. It's just we're going along with the ride of this resonance.
Exactly. It really just happened. At times we didn't have food. There was, I mean, in about 5, 6 years, there were more than 700 people that came through this school or whatever. It was just unbelievable. And then farmers would come and say, we don't know, we've just brought you food, or this would bring us a cow and this and whatever. It was just most amazing. And it's so funny, there's not a recipe. We couldn't go back and say, you know what, you need so many people and you do need a hotel, and you need a curriculum. No, you need a burning heart, a heart that finds a message so embedded. And you know what's so beautiful about it is that it finds its resonance in the next person you share with. Not the same. The next, we did street work for so many years, just finding the down and outs, the cop, just going there. And they became they started rehab centers, and it is just, I am working on the story and I will get to it, but I'm always a little cautious because um, the recipe is not us. It's not us.
Make you cautious. Why does that make you cautious? What do you mean by that?
Because I don't want to write a book and people would think, oh, we were so blessed. That was like just for, no. I want people to see us as ordinary, nothing. We could bring nothing to the table. I mean, Francois was in his last exam of getting his degree, where he studied Greek and Hebrew, when the professors of the university came to him and said, we see no future for you. In the walls of this constitution, we see no future for you. And it's like, you're on your own, boy.
Which ended up being, like our human flesh says that is so devastating. And in reality, that was the biggest invitation. That was the catalyst
Totally.
for what is. And look at, oh my gosh, Lydia, like what has happened in that? And you guys stepped through going, I don't need to see what I think I'm supposed to see in the natural. And I see the potential because he's
Yes.
given me the eyes to step in, opening. Like you said, what we needed was that fire in the heart, that burning heart. I think of Justin Paul Abraham is company of burning hearts. It's like, this is a company. It's not,
Yes.
it's a community. It's a people of burning hearts. And you guys
Yes.
were willing, who will go as his eyes scan to and fro, who will go? And you're leading
Totally.
it as an example. And I think we're moving, though, Lydia, into that space of going, this isn't about people being on platform pedestals, that it's
No.
like, oh, look at them and I need what they have. It's like you are showing what it resides in every one of us, doing our thing so uniquely. And you guys did it
Totally.
the way you're made. You're wired to get on a motorbike with a guitar on your back and a love in your heart. And somebody else is made for dancing and really doing that. And the other person is fixing cars with a passion because they do everything with such a burning heart of life and love that
Totally.
changes vehicles and how they function for not just 6 months, but a lifetime, because there's love attached.
Exactly.
I'm like,
Exactly. I mean, look at the mechanic coming to fetch the car from being enlightened. I've just fixed your car, and I look at you and I see in you the vehicle God has chosen to manifest Himself so perfectly. And maybe you don't know it, but I'm looking at you in such a way that you will feel it. You will feel loved. You will not feel judged. You will feel totally accepted and totally embraced. And as I give you these keys, with it, I'm giving you my faith that you will encounter the word in such a way that you cannot but resonate and say, I give up. This, I just give up. It is just so beautiful. It is so beautiful to give up, because the sooner we give up, the better. The sooner we come to the place where we realize, I mean, really, if I have to tell you that the poles apart, Francois and myself, were when we met each other, how we were raised. Him from a beautiful Christian family that really loved Jesus and were inundated with law and legalism, but they loved God. And myself from somebody that went to church maybe twice in my whole life until I met Francois, once to a mass and once to somebody's funeral or wedding or something. But I was raised knowing there's a God that loves me. I was raised knowing I'm loved, totally loved. Now let me get back to in those years. I mean, this is in the 80s.
Yeah.
With we call them the Acts team, and Francois was busy translating the book of Acts.
Which is so incredible.
I know. And I'm so excited because we both realize, God, we've just touched the surface. We're just scratching the surface of the acts of Christ unfolding in our own lives, unfolding in our understanding, our consciousness and our subconscious, to allow this unveiling to penetrate into nooks and crannies that we didn't know where the doors were closed, but it's going to be persistent and say, I want to get in there. I want to shine in there. I want to reign. So that enlightenment becomes like, I think it was Peter when he said, if you hold on to this as a lamp shining in a dark place, until the morning star arises in your own heart. And that is the whole purpose of us communicating, and even the mirror happening here. It is words, just words, but inside of them, I remember one day I was thinking about Francois because he loves to cross-reference, you know? And I was thinking my dad he was a blaster. I don't know what you call them. He did quarries there where they would
Oh, yeah.
dynamite sticks in, and okay.
Yeah.
And I remember, I mean, we lived there. We used to travel like gypsies. We lived in tents and in caravans wherever we went. And being there with my dad and then seeing this whole full rock face full of holes drilled. And down goes the dynamite and down goes the detonators, little things. And I was 6 years old. And my dad had a little shack, and inside the shack was his table where we had coffee or whatever. And also this, I don't know what you call it, but this thing you press down and you turn. So we were in this, and he said to me, look. I said, now you do it. Now you do it. 6 years old. I put my hands on that thing. I turned it. Not a drop of sweat, nothing. I didn't know what I was doing. And I looked up, and this whole, over there, that whole mountain, the whole rock face just tumbled and tumbled to the ground. And that's really, really the dynamic of this beautiful gospel is in what it carries. Not a 6-year-old's little hands just turning it, Or, I mean, so many people have said to Francois, you didn't know of Athanasia or these guys? I said, I've never heard of them. They said, but it's impossible. You're preaching them. And Francois says, I haven't heard of them. It was like, it's organic. Truth is organic. God uses people all along. And he says, oh, can you hear this? I say, yes, I can hear it loud and clear. And that's it. It's like, we're just on the receiving end, Amy. We're just on the receiving end, and in us, it becomes a creative miracle. It becomes this unfolding.
Of truth and love. Oh my gosh, Lydia, there's so many things in what you were just saying. So it's like just hearing, for one, here's Francois's upbringing of,
Mm.
of religion more, of legalism, you experiencing love, a family's love. So you're experiencing mother, father, siblings, Trinity, right there, enveloped in a whole different way. The expression is irrelevant on how it comes. You're getting something. And so my thought was going to how, like, the necessity of you and him meeting to come to what was coming next. For this
Yeah,
word to come in, both of you had to experience one another,
totally,
and to come
totally.
into this union of marriage required both of those experiences, and then the learning and coming in with one another. Everything that you experienced in your Acts home, I cannot wait for the completion of Acts because of your experiential learning coming into his letters, like you talked about,
Yeah,
the living letters, though.
yeah,
Like his words are living letters because it's
totally.
coming from this experience. You guys have tapped into what the explosive nature, like, and I'm just picturing your earthly father
Mm,
showing you what he's already done the work,
totally.
allowing you to participate, not breaking a sweat
No,
because
no.
he's done the work, but
Yeah,
look at the impact of the
exactly.
magnitude of our small, frail, our not our lack of strength, but yet our willingness to participate, co-create,
Yes.
bringing things down. Oh my gosh, Lydia. And then just hearing, oh my, I'm just like in awe of how you're painting this picture, which is what you do so beautifully. Because, and I would like to, after a bit, get into a little bit about your creations, your projects, your detonators of things, breaking down walls.
It's
But,
so special. I want to say though, um,
and
when I
hearing,
met Francois and the connection and the unveiling of Christ, to me it was, so this is you. I knew him, but I didn't know who he was. And suddenly, oh, Jesus, oh my Lord. It is just, it is so magnificent. It is so majestic. I was thinking about that scripture just now. I don't know if it's in one of the, I think it's one of the Psalms. I'll quickly ask Francois, but he says, as surely as I live. Oh, yeah, it is Psalm 13. And he's, all the ends of the earth will be flooded with the knowledge of my glory. Knowledge, mind you, his glory is there already, as the waters cover the sea. Every nook and cranny of this vessel is, do you know the weight of water on the seabed? It's like, you can't believe it. It is just unbelievable. It is like pressing upon, pressing upon. And then it ends off that psalm, that verse, by saying, and all flesh shall see it
oh,
together.
together.
Together. Where am I going to see his glory? In you. That's the togetherness. That is why this will cover the earth, because it's not all flesh. Flesh shall see it if you're going to join this or do that or jump through. No, no, no. When I see you, we recognize, we see each other. I see the glory of God, and you see in me the glory of God. And we recognize, and now comes the rest. I can unravel and we can explain how to get rid of the nonsense we've lived through all these years, the things we've accumulated in our religious, not only religious, our desires for God, because one of the most beautiful pictures Francois paints of the word righteousness that stems from the de- decay. It comes from the goddess of that you always see in the courts and everything, the one with the two scales, remember?
Oh yeah, the balancing, right? Yes. What's
Right.
her name? Okay, I
Yeah,
shouldn't.
decay or
Yeah.
something. And that is the message of God. That is the quest of man. That is the quest of eternity likeness. We want to balance the scale, not because we're haughty, not because, like he says in Job, who's going to dig a hole and get out dusts of gold and decorate yourself with gold, not because you arrogant. I feel I am worthy. I feel I can balance the scale with God.
Okay.
It is
D-
just so amazing. It is just so amazing to find that the word righteousness means two parties finding
Finding
likeness.
likeness in one another.
Likeness. So
DK,
that is,
Decamos.
yeah,
Yeah,
decay.
yeah.
That's right. And that is so important for us to understand. This quest that God put into motion was his initiative. The story, the Genesis story, my beautiful children's story. I can't wait to release. It is so beautiful. It is just so beautiful. So, so beautiful. It's the
I,
Genesis story. Because, I mean, many people don't understand the gospel because they don't understand the Genesis story. If you don't understand the Genesis story, I don't have other terms for it, but creation, that coming into being of that which is seen from unseen, from the eternal unseen space where we all come from. We come from there. That's our
that's
eternal
our,
origin and our eternal destiny. So we come from that unseen place, and God said, I'm going to take that which is unseen and put it in a seen body. I'm going to put it somewhere where it's physical, it touches, it feels, it has emotions. It is like and that is like here on this planet. It's not an experiment, but God had a plan because he's forever creating. You know, the creation story doesn't stop. It is a continual present. It is just, it continues to happen. So the creation story, God thought, oh, this can't stop now. It has to carry on. So he made us to continually be the unveiling of him, the unveiling of, oh, sorry, I just see dust on the horizon and it's not a fire. Oh, shame, somebody's stuck. Sweetie, somebody's stuck there on the hill. Sorry. We live on a farm and I just see clouds
yeah.
of dust on the horizon.
Head out there, dear.
Daar's is iemand wat vassit daar op die bult. My hero is going to go out with a bucky. That
Yes, of
bucky.
course he is.
Hey, that bucky. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, the likeness, like you're just talking about that, it's a remembering of our
yes.
origin, right? It's a reawakening to who we actually already were from before, where our origin, and we're on this
Totally.
journey of like that co-creating life with him
Exactly.
and moving into the realization of who we are. And I mean, that's what the mirror does. That's what your
It
children's book
really does.
and your kids' books bring that in at an age where we didn't have that. You're populating you're meeting a need that will save
I
so
wish
much.
there are many more,
There will be.
many,
You
many more, and many more, not only from me, from
yeah.
people around. I want to quickly touch a very important point about. So when um, in the creation of Adam and Eve, and God breathing themselves into this clay pot, into this vessel that became alive, bursting with life. They looked and they said, "This is very, very good." God didn't recognize themselves as hands and feet and hair and ears. They recognized spirit living in a body, themselves in here. This is just a vessel, Amy. This is just the carrier of glory. So the being of God that they breathed into everything that lives has the breath of God. Every child that is born and breathes its first breath, they breathe in God into them. And that is what is alive. Now, the most, I mean, it took me years to really have the penny drop, but it did in that time when Francois was teaching again and again. I thought, why do you hammer on that God went to him to his rest? Why do you say the same things again and again? And then suddenly, oh, God has gone on an eternal Sabbath after that amazing happening of creation.
Yes.
Why? Because he says, I will continue to hear the echo of my likeness. It is impossible for man to suppress the likeness of God to such an extent that God feels, oh, I can't reach you. I can't get in there. I can't get behind. Oh, you've just lived in stupid lifestyle for too long. It's going to take, this is not true. It can happen instantly. Instantly, that metanoia moment when light dawns, it illuminates, and suddenly I realize, look, everything has become new. Everything has, and this is what God celebrates. So, for us to imagine that we're going to conjure up something that we're going to bring to the table, let me set the table, God. Can I bring some salad? He says, no, table set. Can I? No, just come feast. Just come feast. The gospel of Jesus Christ is an invitation to a love feast. We are just smelling the goodies from the outside. It wants to inhabit every nook and cranny of us, every thought pattern. I remember day I was just sitting on the veranda in Hermanus in our house, and there was a footpath going up to the top of the mountain, and there was an elderly couple that missed the path. Just there, they missed it, and they were climbing over the rocks, and I felt so sorry for them. I tried to shout, but they knew they wouldn't hear me. Climbing over rocks, through the bushes and everything, and all I wanted to say is, just go left, little bit left, left. There's a path. You don't have to make your own path. There's a highway in the wilderness to you, and there's a highway in the wilderness, this wilderness that we call me. God says, I know me in you. I've been there all along. Every day, I've been there in me, in you. And now he says, let me show you a way more easily. Let me show you a highway in the wilderness where suddenly the past becomes a little vague. Not that the past is irrelevant, but hey, I think it's taken up a lot of time.
And
And
hey,
today, totally. And today is so significant. Today is eternity. You and I are sharing eternity with each other now because eternity is now. This is the eternal moment. It is now. And God wants us to engage with eternity now, to engage with wide open spaces. And if you don't know what to say, if you don't know what to do, if you don't know who to quote, I love this. It is just the best place. It is just, oh, Holy Spirit, Jesus. And where we are, suddenly change takes place. That change which we couldn't orchestrate, that we tried so hard, even in one another, our partners or our kids or whatever. And God saying, hands off, watch me, watch this space, watch this space. And when we want to get anxious or, but what about this is, watch. There is nothing that engages spirit more than, not that God doesn't need our worship, but worship and adoration and
it's the natural flow.
it is
It's natural flow that just comes.
totally,
It's not
totally,
an
and
efforting, right? It just flows.
exactly, and just stay there, just stay there. We had about 5 kilometers of Crocodile River running through our farm. This was in Nelspruit when we had the game lodge, and when it rained a lot, we would a tube, a tube for a car or a tractor, that the inners,
Inner
we
tube.
in a tube, we would blow them up and then drive with a pickup to the top of the river wherever we could get as close as possible. Because if it rained, it was like this. I mean, the Crocodile River, it is a mighty river. So we would just go, all of us, and jump into the river. And here you are on this tube, and it is so exhilarating, so amazing. Some places, the river is so deep that it almost feels that you're not moving. But when you look up, you'll see the tree leaves moving and the branches. We had mulberry trees, grab a mulberry. And then other places, it would pan out, and then it's rapids. It's like these vicious rapids. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And we had a motto. In Afrikaans, we called it Boude. Boude is bottom. Bottoms, bottoms, bottoms. That was the family motto. Get your butt out of the way. The stream's going to take you. You're in the right vehicle. Just don't try and brake. Don't try and just lift your bum, because that might just hit over a rock or whatever. I'm sorry, I'm being a little bit crude, but that was our family motto. And I often say that we are nervous to let go and just, you in this vehicle of God's doing. It was his idea to begin with. We did not invent this fellowship. We invited into it a place of union, a place of face-to-faceness.
Oh my God.
Face-to-faceness, yeah, yeah, yeah.